If you're struggling with your sales, and especially if you're struggling with your sales and there's a time where things were really working and you've gotten into a rut, this might be the reason why. Now, recently, I'm talking to somebody who was a consultant. He says to me, Raylan, like at one point we were making 30K in revenue every single month over month, and now we're at this huge lull, and I feel like it's the market, I feel like it's this. Normally, when this happens, I always ask my clients the same question, which is, when things were going well, do you know why they were going so well? Almost immediately, they all say the same thing, like, oh, I was doing this differently, or we were doing this, and it was all tactical. And I go, well, was it easy though? Yeah, I felt really smooth. Okay, we'll go to now. Are you doing those same things? And they're like, yes, I'm doing those same tactical things, but it's not producing. Here's the reason why you get misaligned with your purpose. You forget why. This is a weird thing that happens when you start making more money. You start making it a transactional thing. You start making it about the money. So here's an example. If you've ever gone to a call and started already planning how you're gonna spend the money, you're not doing it right. When you have that weight, naturally you're making it about the transaction. You may not even notice this is happening. What should you do instead? Again, when we go back to those months that were like everything was easy and everything was aligned, it's usually because you were aligned with your purpose. You were there to serve the individual. You were there with a purpose, and that just comes out of you. That pours out of you. I continue to make this mistake. I mean, a perfect example is a few months ago, like we were pulling in new clients like crazy. In a 2-month span, brought on like 6 clients for an agency that's paying us like $4,000 a month. That's not a little bit of money. And then there was like a 2-month lull where I was still doing sales calls, but I wasn't closing anybody. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Oh, because we started making money, I started thinking about, oh, okay, well, we made this much. I started making about the money in that. Now, granted, as a former sales guy, that was my thing. To me, at this stage of my life, is my humble opinion that you cannot sell at the level in which you want to sell if you don't have belief and purpose in what you're doing. You can have a really good product, but if you don't have belief and it's not aligned with your purpose, it won't work. So there's something recently that I changed. I went back to that purpose. What is my purpose? Oh, it's helping removing obstacles and excuses out of way of people's life so they can realize they deserve more. Once I came back to that, that was the only thing I'm doing on that call. It's not to make you a whole bunch of money. It's, can I help remove some obstacles? And it just so happens that when I stay in that mind frame, when I'm aligned in that purpose, money comes easier. It's not a hard sell at that point. And so one of the things I want to recommend to you is if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself like, man, like I'm having a hard time creating sales for myself or generating leads, go back to the purpose. When you go and step into that sales call or when you create the piece of content, do you have that at the forefront of your mind? Do you have your purpose statement? Do you also frame that above your office somewhere or where you can see it when you go in? So that way, when you step into that sales call, you have the right mindset. You have the right purpose being on there. And maybe even say that at the beginning of your opening statement when you're doing sales calls. Like for me right now, I say that at the beginning, not even for them, but for me. So I get in the right mindset. I will say to them, hey, just so you know on this call, my intention is to try to remove any obstacles or excuses that you have as to why you can't make the impact and the revenue that you want to make. And so on this call, I'm going to be trying to figure out how I can aid you to doing that. Again, that's not necessarily just for them. That's for me to make sure I'm not thinking about the money. I'm not thinking about how am I going to pay for this after this and how much money we're going to make. If I throw all of that on my mind, I'm able to actually deliver on the outcome. Remember, sales is about transforming people's lives. It's not a transaction. The moment that you make it a transaction, the moment that you start making less money. With that being said, as always, we have more training right here for you. Go check that out in the description below. We have tons of tools for you to use. And as always, stay motivated, stay elevated. I'll see you in the next video.